Hello and welcome to an hour of FA Cup action featuring Manchester City. City were formed as a professional football club in 1887 as Ardwick FC, a name they kept for only 7 years. It wasn't until the 1896-97 season that they played in the first round of the Football Association Challenge Cup, and they didn't exactly cover themselves in glory, going down 6-0 to Preston North End, at the time one of the leading clubs in England. It's every club and every player's dream to play in the cup final at Wembley. City have achieved this ambition on no fewer than 8. It's at Wembley that we start our action. The year is 1956, and as we've mentioned, the opposition is Birmingham City. In the side, under Leslie McDowall, was the brilliant midfield maestro Ken Barnes, Jack Dyson, who also played county cricket with Lancashire, and the man who was to become the manager of England, Don Revie. But on the day, it was the former German prisoner of war, Bert Trautmann, in the City goal, who became a hero.
McKenzie, number 8. Brown, but it's a throw-in to Manchester. Barnes is a key man in this deep centre-forward plan of Manchester's. Now Revie. Now it's Murphy. Now to Govan, number 11. And that was Ewing who managed to head that one clear. Now Levers, one of the doubtful men. Now Revie lying well back to pick up those loose balls. Clark. Revie calling for the ball. Revie to Hayes. It's there. Two minutes, 40 seconds gone. Manchester City have taken the lead. An inspired goal scored by Hayes. Throw to Birmingham. Eddie Brown. And a great chance. It's a goal. And that was Kinsey, the inside right. 14 minutes gone. And there's Kinsey, number 8, the scorer of the goal that makes it 1 goal each. A very good throw-in, just showing how you can use the throw-in for attacking purposes instead of just getting the ball into play. Rather like the American tennis players use their serve. Now Astall, this will really liven the game up. That's Barnes. Barnes through, and it's a goal by the Lancashire cricketer Jack Dyson after exactly 20 minutes. And the ladies who are sitting in front of me, who one time looked happy, then very worried, are now hugging each other and kissing each other. Murphy, and a goal kick. Now those are the Manchester City supporters we're looking at the moment, behind the goal to our right. Hayes. It's Ken Green winning this one. Green up to Govan. Brown, number 9. Here's Bobby Johnston with a lovely chance for the third. It's there. And Bobby Johnston. Well, Manchester City fans brought the cup with them, it appears. 23 minutes of the second half gone. Manchester now 3-1 in the lead. offside there, with Manchester United already the champions. It could be a tremendous double for the city of Manchester. Now this will not be unique as some people think, because exactly 50 years ago Everton won the FA Cup and Liverpool won the First Division Championship. So what Liverpool did 50 years ago, Manchester may well do today. Boyd out to Govan. There's Brown. And I think Trotman's hurt. Yes, and so's Murphy. Looks like Murphy's knee and Trotman's head. Well, now, it's obviously not his head, but his neck. Now, this is the neck that Trotman hurt 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, rather, and he had to have quite a lot of manipulative treatment to get the neck back in place, and it could well be serious for Manchester if that neck's been knocked out of joint again. But you notice how popular he is with the Manchester fans, the tremendous cheering. Now Trotman really does look hurt, and it's no fun, quarter of an hour from the end in an FA Cup final, to have your goalkeeper worried by a bad neck, even if you are winning by 3-1.
Trautmann, in obvious agony, bravely played out those last 15 minutes. It wasn't until the following day that he discovered his neck had been broken in that collision with Peter Murphy. For now, he joined in the celebrations.
After failure and disappointment last year, this year, success. And as Roy Paul comes up to receive the cup, no doubt even the Manchester United supporters will be cheering. Well, it was a sad Roy Paul 12 months ago, almost to the day. Now overjoyed, no doubt, as he steps up to receive the trophy from the hands of Her Majesty the Queen. The Duke of Edinburgh looks delighted enough as well. There it is. Following him, Roy Clark, his colleague in the Welsh team. Then Ken Barnes. I thought Roy Clark was going to give it away then. And there's Little and Trotman now receiving that coveted medal, having a word with His Royal Highness. I should imagine he's forgotten all about his bad neck now. Don Revie, the man who almost didn't play, Bobby Johnston. And now the losers, the gallant losers, always a disappointing moment for them.
So, for the third time, the FA Cup went to Manchester City, but it was 13 years before their next final. In 1969, Joe Mercer was manager, but Malcolm Allison was the driving force. Together, they built a formidable side, skippered by Tony Book. We also had the legendary combination of Summerby, Lee and Bell, whose tireless work in midfield won him 48 England caps. They now face Leicester City, already relegated.
And listen to the noise that greets them. Far too much room. Summerby. Bell. And once again, did you notice? Coleman. And Young is there again. This boy Young is always buzzing around in this box. Number 10. There's Coleman in the background who hit it. Neil Young has been buzzing away, going forward all the time, always trying to get half an opportunity to strike. Oh, Woollett put his captain in trouble then, and it's Lee now for Manchester City. Three ready by Summerby. Coleman! Oh, he hit that one so hurriedly he'll never forgive himself. Oh, but what a beautiful break that was by Manchester City. Great running by Summerby. Late on that chance for Coleman. 10 minutes gone and no score. This is incidentally the 5th consecutive season these two teams have met in the Cup. The crowd really buzzing to this performance by Manchester City. Lockhead. He's got nobody up with him. 4 men are hanging behind him, including Clark. Here's Clark, number 10, and Glover breaks. He's created space, a great move! Tremendous bit of football by Leicester. Glover moved and created the gap, through it, into which number 10, Clark ran and shot. But what a save from Dow. That certainly stung his fingers. Reminder to anybody who thinks this cup final is going to be one-way traffic. Gibson with the corner. And Fern! Rodney Fern, the man who was told by his headmaster at school he'd never make a footballer. Joe Mercer must be a little worried the way he saw Leicester break that and almost create a goal. Oh, yes, he does look worried, doesn't he? That's what this dry mouth we've all got. Roberts. Oh, beautiful football. Gibson is onside. Oh, Lockhead. Oh, no, Rodriguez. This is something I haven't seen from Leicester before. This man, Rodriguez, is coming up so often to get the tight situations in the penalty box. It's an extra forward. First time we've seen Summerby moving inside, not being on this right touchline. Summerby moved inside. It's Woolett with him. Summerby back to Young. It's there! Beautiful goal! Scored by Young. Made by Summerby. 23 minutes gone. The credit for that was Summerby. Scored a Young. And notice the persistence of number 7, Summerby. As he beat Woolett and then he pulls it back. And Young again in that perfect position and made no mistake with that shot. A brilliant goal after 23 minutes. Neil Young.
Congratulations on that goal. You're looking a much more relieved man now. How are you feeling?
Well, much better after that. But mind you, it was against run of play, I thought. They had a couple of chances, could have gone in. But Summerby's playing magnificent, and I think he made the goal. And of course, Neil Young, when he puts it on his left foot, it's just his chance.
Woolett is a bit lucky to get that one, and a bad one. Right, Young, up comes Coleman. The Leicester defence is beginning to sway a bit under this pressure, not looking as solid as it has done all this season. The whistle goes for the end of the first half. Manchester City leading 1-0, and the crowd rise to these players who've given us such fine entertainment in the first half. The goal was scored by this fellow Neil Young, who's played so well. So to the second half, Manchester City to kick off. How many more times is that ball going to go in the nets? Mr. McCabe waiting for the applause for the band to cease as the band goes into the players' tunnel. And Manchester City start the second half. 1-0 in the lead. Lead to Coleman. Manchester got all 5 forwards up, and in comes Bill. And that header was going like a bullet. What a goalkeeper Peter Shilton is. And what a header by Bell. He really ran onto that. Glover looking very tired and very distressed about things. Bell playing the 1-2 ball with Lee, and look at this determination of Lee. Back to Summerby. Truss getting it away, but there's always a Manchester player there. It's almost murderous pressure. Young, and a great tackle by Ron Leeds. Well, Summerby being very brave, rolling his stockings down, discarding shin pads. He might never have worn them, but I'd hate to play with bare shins. Now it's Lee. Lee with a chance for City. It's the side netting. And there's Francis Lee with the chance. See how he sends Manley the wrong way and hits the real screamer. And how far is he wide? Just missed by about a few inches maybe. But notice Shilton covering that post beautifully. Well, the ground's a bit soft on top. It must be very, very tiring. Lockhead to Gibson. Manley. Fern. Clark is offside. Clark is offside. Again, you see, already might be offside. Clark might have been caught offside, but they're there, these Leicester players. When they have the slightest chance, they suddenly bob up from nowhere. 3 minutes to go. And these 22 players have given everything to this match. Summerby's moved into an offside position. He's all right now, though. Bell to Summerby. So Manchester City can control this game now. They must keep possession for the remaining few minutes. Lee. Oh, that's deflected. Could have been a naughty one. Without wishing anybody any harm. I must say I've enjoyed this cup final so much I wouldn't mind extra time. Corner to Manchester City. Book for Manchester City. Cross giving away a free kick. Graham Cross, he's played his heart out. Carl Coleman. The Manchester City fans have already decided it's all over now. 1 minute there is to go, not counting injury time. Free kick to Manchester. Manchester can take the time about this now. It's Doyle who's going to take it. Really, this, the way City of Manchester are playing it, this could be academic. The 45 minutes are up. We now play injury time. The linesmen have both signalled 45 minutes up. It's injury time now. Manchester City, champions last season, look as if they're going to be cup winners this season. It's all over. The FA Cup, a great performance. They have played so wonderfully, but Leicester City have been such tremendous opposition. And that's the joy of Manchester City. Disappointed they didn't gain the championship. Joe Mercer ambling on now, but what a great final this has been. And Joe sportingly congratulates Mr. McCabe and David Nish, the Leicester captain. Now the FA Cup on show as Manchester City go up to receive it, led by Tony Book. A worthy victory. And what a happy man. Footballer of the Year along with Dave Mackay. Skipper of the cup winning side. He's almost too tired to get up there. Receiving the trophy from Her Royal Highness the Princess Anne. It's behind Her Royal Highness the Leicester City chairman, who must be proud of his team. Well done, Tony Book. Behind him, Harry Dowd. And that's the great block of people who had a rehearsal by cheering Leicester and listen to them now as they see the cup.
It was Joe Mercer who led City out before the match, but now the players and the fans wanted to show their appreciation to the other half of the management team, the flamboyant Malcolm Allison. He was to have 2 one-year spells as manager in 72 and 78. But City didn't make the final again until 1981, but more of that later. It's not only finals that bring out the excitement and passion in players and fans. When 2 First Division sides are drawn together in the 3rd round, as City and Leeds were in 1978, it's all there. Tony Book was now manager, Colin Bell was still running in midfield, Tuart and Hartford were there too.
That's McQueen's. Curry. Only Hankin is on for him. This is he. And Booth covering. And as well he was. Thatcher really electrifying pace. Fine ball by Harris to Flynn. Well struck by Flynn. And Joe Corrigan, the big fellow, down so quickly. Absolutely perpetual motion. Here's Barnes, who is on one of those runs. And that's got to be! But it's not been given. Well, I must say that surprises me, but the referee's view was better than mine. Tuart again. Clements, kid in the middle. Reaney. Curry. Little casual. Owen. It's done well. Tuart! Tremendous applause, a fine move, but Curry certainly at fault, allowing himself to be caught. A good cross by Owen, the header by Tuart, and Harvey coming across was an instinctive save to turn it over. But Curry at fault for Leeds. Barnes with the cross. Kidd didn't make contact. Another corner. The visitors, I think, ahead on points, but no score. And another corner, near side this time. Oh, look at that! And a great argument going on between McQueen and Harvey, and Curry trying to sort it out. And how extraordinary, the referee wants to talk to 2 players of the same side for being involved in a punch-up. Symptomatic of the pressure that Leeds are under at this moment. Who to take control. But I don't think I've ever seen that at a match before. And the referee seemingly saying, more of that and I'll send you off. But I think the man who requires to say the words is Jimmy Armfield. Quite extraordinary. But who's taking command in the box, I suspect, is what all that was about. Harris. Curry. It's more time than many others. Here's Tony Curry. Held it for Madeley. That's a good cross. Hankin couldn't make it. Cherry controlled it well, but can he dig it out? Shot blocked by his own player. Madeley. Reaney, it's all so tight. Harris. They want to get it wide if they possibly can, and they can't. Hartford away to Barnes. Held it well, Tuart inside him. Bell far side, great ball by Barnes. Tuart going on. And Gray cutting out what would have been a very teasing pass. Marvellous stuff, end to end. Really a bit like Harrods in a sail. You've got no time to try anything on. You've got to make up your mind first time. Here's Harris. Curry, good punch. The pressure now coming from Leeds. Here's Flynn. Booth didn't quite get it right. Owen. Hartford. Chewett. Kidd on the 6-yard line. Fine save by Harvey. It came to him so difficultly. Very, very difficult, that. Both the save and say. Here's Bell. He's come close to a goal since he came back, particularly at Leicester, where he rattled the crossbar from 35 yards. And Ray Hankin got a rare moment's respite, but not for long. Curry, hounded by Watson. Graham. Watson stood out on this side. Shooting chance for Graham. Really is having a fine game. Again, Corrigan down quickly. Significant that Watson stayed out wide. Hasn't got a man to mark with Curry wearing the number 9. Chewett. Bell is the man over. Kidd. Harvey was covered on the line by Reaney. By Hankin. Just levering Donachie out of his way. Pushed by McQueen. Watson, Bell, Chewett! Dennis Chewett's determination taking him in. Celebrations are all blue and white. Physical force as well as his ability took him in. From the free kick, the looping header by Colin Bell, and Dennis Chewett taking off to put City in front. Chewett. The alteration in the lead side as the free kick is given, as the Cherry has gone to full back. Harris has dropped back, and Clark, of course, has gone up front. There's Chewett. In comes Bell. Side netting. There's Owen, just too long for Barnes. Corner well saved by Harvey. Owen. Bell is threatening number 8. And he somehow saved it, but then it was tucked in by Peter Barnes. And that surely does it. Supporters joining in both on the terraces and indeed on the pitch. Bell getting congratulations as well. It was his header. Harvey pushing it onto the bar, saving it with one hand, but then couldn't deny the rampage that descended upon him, and the foot of Barnes was the one that tucked it in. Curry. Hankin. Graham! And Corrigan somehow denying him. And mayhem in the area. The ball was loose. It had to be played. Corrigan down at a number of feet. Made it his. Donachie. Not sure where he was going. Oh, we've got trouble in the goal mouth behind Joe Corrigan. That's why Donachie put it out. And the police taking people away. And now we've got people on the pitch and the referee going to talk to Jimmy Armfield.
With 13 minutes of the match remaining and City 2-0 in front, a group of so-called Leeds supporters behind Joe Corrigan's Manchester City goal caused a disturbance in an attempt to have the match abandoned. It took mounted police and a public announcement from the referee David Seal stressing that he wouldn't abandon the game to calm things down. After a stoppage of nearly a quarter of an hour, during which time the players left the field, the match was restarted.
It's a throw-in on the far side. Willie Donachie put the ball out of play. So there were 13 minutes left when the invasion occurred. Cherry gets the game going again. Here's Curry. Away by Watson. Flynn. Bell. Away by Clements. Hartford. Here's Barnes, who was clearly onside. Stewart, far side, number 11. Came to him very unkindly. Watson's clearance. Here's Barnes. Curry, Harris, Clark just inside. Strong challenge by Booth, but only a throw-in. Bell covering McQueen. Another throw. McQueen again, won it this time. And Booth putting it the right way. Leeds win their first corner of the entire game. Hankin, Cherry, kicked off the line by Hartford after the parry by Corrigan. Flynn, who did so much to lift Leeds when he came to them. They've had a bad spell over the holiday. It's probably cost them any real chance of the championship. And now they look like going out of the cup. Here's Flynn. Oh, that's a lovely ball to Curry! And that's a penalty. That was a magnificent ball by Flynn that found Curry in such space, and no question that it was a penalty. So to the bitter end, the match so full of tension and drama. We're in the last minute of the match, and Leeds with the chance to keep a little bit of hope flickering. Frank Gray to take it. 2-1 the score, but under a minute left. And we're now moving into the time added on for injuries and stoppages by Mr. Seal, which of course doesn't include the attempt to get the game abandoned. The team has brought belief back in the crowd. On for McQueen. So much a question of nerves now, but City finding theirs equal to it. To Manchester City. Two fine goals by Tuart and by Barnes. Frank Gray from the penalty spot right at the death after a 13-minute delay. And it's Manchester City who deservedly go on to round 4.
In the 60s and 70s, matches against Leeds were always bruising affairs, and that was no exception. City went out to Nottingham Forest in the next round by 2-1, but in 1981 they were back at Wembley. This is their 4th round romp against Norwich City at Main Road. Now under John Bond, City had 2 big signings in attack, Kevin Reeves and Steve McKenzie. Jerry Gow prompted from midfield, and in their defence Norwich had Kevin Bond, the son of the Manchester manager.
Fashanu will chase, but McDonnell will reach it first. Only just. Power. Here's McDowell for Norwich. The free kick had already been given. Today's referee, Ray Toseland of Market Harborough, his final season as a league official. Reeves with the header on. It nearly reached Boyer, and Bond going in a little bit high then and calling immediately to the referee that Boyer is in need of treatment, clutching his knee, as you can see there. Bond went in high, but I'm sure it was an accidentally high challenge. And the players realising, I think, that it could be a nasty injury there for Phil Boyer. Well, it was a 50-50 challenge, really. Bond had to go for that loose ball. Boyer went in too, and although Bond's challenge was high, I'm sure it was not deliberately so. But what a blow for Manchester City. So John Bond, the Manchester City manager, racing anxiously to see the extent of Boyer's injury. And of course, what will add fuel to that particular fire is that it was his own son, Kevin, who made the tackle. And in fact, Manchester City have decided to send on their substitute, Dave Bennett. So that injury in the first 15 minutes or so, a real setback to Manchester City's hopes. Bennett the substitute on then. McDowell now for Norwich. Fashanu underneath it, so was Booth. Fashanu in space, can he hit it? He can! Well, the ball bobbling through unexpectedly to Justin Fashanu. I think he was taken unawares by the fact that it arrived at his feet. And although he clipped his shot first time, it bobbled wide of the City post. Dave Bennett, the Manchester City sub, and we now have 2 Dave Bennetts on the field. In fact, they once played together in the same Central League side here at Main Road. Kevin Bond. McDonnell. Power. McDonnell again, looking for the long ball for Bennett. finding him. Here's Power. Only Reeves in the middle at the moment, though Hutchison is arriving quickly. Mackenzie to McDonald. Gow. Reeves, Bennett is in space, but he hits it himself. Oh, what a magnificent goal by Kevin Reeves! A wonderful effort, and what an irony as one former Norwich player goes off. Within minutes, another Kevin Reeves gives Manchester City the lead. The ball was played through to Reeves. Dave Bennett, the substitute, was in space. He chose to hit it himself, and that splendid rising shot had Baker beaten completely, and Manchester City take the lead. 1-0. Booth. Here's Reeves again. Gow. What an intelligent ball for Power. McDonald going on the overlap. But he'll find Bennett. The goalkeeper did well. Clive Baker having to play like a sweeper then, and I must say these long through balls over the heads of the Norwich back four are causing real problems. And Baker then going in a little high as he challenged outside the penalty area. A free kick to Manchester City. Oh, a magnificent goal again by Manchester City. Gow with the perfect shot, and Manchester City go 2 in front. No expression of joy on the face of John Bond, but he must be so satisfied with that goal. Jerry Gow's 6th since he came here from Bristol City. So simple. The free kick for the challenge by Clive Baker, tapped short by McDonald. Gow with the sweet right foot shot. Baker never had a hope. 2-0 to Manchester City. And despite losing Phil Boyer, and incidentally the news from the dressing room is that the injury to Boyer following an X-ray has been diagnosed as nothing too serious. It's certainly not a break anyway, and that's good news. Manchester City's corner. Booth and Caton take up their usual position on the near post. Reeves is there as well. Good header away by Watson, and the shot by McDonald! But a break from McDonald! Hits the bar again. Astonishing. And the danger not gone as Gow plays it in. This is Bennett. Reeves, and deflected for a corner by Kevin Bond. Manchester City can hardly believe it. Twice in a matter of seconds, shots striking the Norwich City crossbar, and all they have to show for it is a corner.
Well, the corner came to nothing, and with the score at 2-0 to Manchester City, we rejoin the game in the second half.
Tony Henry with the free kick. Aim for Booth. Will it reach Caton? It will. Bennett! Well. The free kick reaching Tommy Caton. And when it was pulled back into the middle, Bennett, in a difficult position and at a difficult angle, scooped his shot over the crossbar and wide. And I'm sure we'll look back on that as an opportunity he really should have put away. Well, it's an almost identical position from that in the first half, and the two players who produced that fine goal over the ball again. McDonald number 3 and Gow number 8. Will they try the same move again? It's direct this time, and they do try it, and it's laid for Mackenzie. Well, Manchester City in a second half in which Norwich so far look the better team, have surely clinched a place in the next round. Another beautifully worked free kick. McDonald again tapping it short. This time there was no opening for Gow to aim at, so he rolled it to his right, and Mackenzie did the rest with that storming shot. Manchester City 3, Norwich City 0. Royal, Paddon. Reeves on for Bennett. It's a chase, 1 against 1. The Norwich players arriving. Can he finish? 4-0. paying the price for throwing so many men forward. When Bennett was in the clear, it was a race against time more than anything. Norwich defenders desperately floundering in his wake. Baker did well to come off his line. Bennett went round him. The angle looked difficult, but he made light of it. And now Manchester City have earned a place in the next round. Hooked in long again for Royal. But Booth denies him. Here's Hutchison. Bennett, Power's gone on another run in the middle. Baker comes and then hesitates. It's 5-0. Minutes gone, and the annihilation is complete. Power for the umpteenth time, going on a run down the centre, waiting for the long through ball, and when it came, Baker raced off his line. As Power clipped it, the defender's challenge certainly didn't help, and the ball went into the back of the Norwich net. Bennett. Mackenzie has arrived on the edge of the penalty area. 3 men for Bennett to pick out here. He has to settle for a corner. So there'll only just about be time for this corner. Power curls it in. McDonald's header! 6-0. There was enough time for the corner, and there was enough time for Bobby McDonald to score his second goal in 7 days. A header again. And Manchester City haven't just won, they've absolutely walked it. And there's the final whistle, and John Bond takes the shortcut back to the dressing rooms, and there will be no more elated man in Manchester tonight. 6 goals, 4 of them in that second half, and the crowd of 39,000 shout easy.
Easy it was, but the further you go in the Cup, the harder it gets. A 1-0 win at Peterborough in round 4, and then 2 matches against Everton, 2 each at Goodison, and then victory 3-2 in the replay at Main Road, saw City at Villa Park for a semi-final against the high-flying Ipswich Town, who were heading the First Division.
Got to be 10 yards away. Beattie's coming in, off the line, by Tommy Hutchison. Well, extraordinary. Beattie got in there with the power on the header, and he got free as well. It was on target, and the man on the post, the oldest man on the field, Tommy Hutchison, saves City. Osman with Bennett, free kick to City. McDonald, John Walk, not a good header. Gow, McDonald. Bennett on, here comes Reeves. Nice back heel, Murin with Bennett, this is Power with the shot, and away by Walk. It's still free, he's in there again, is Power. Cooper made the early save, and Walk completed the clearance. Gates. Oh, look at the space Tyson's got here. Brazil telling him to hold it, Mills is coming. Tyson for Brazil, it's too late. Tyson held it as Brazil asked him to do, but when he just threaded the ball through, Brazil looked round and said, well, he was always going to be second favourite to Corrigan, who was alert and brave. Gates back to Murin. Look at Gow there, it's got to be a foul. So Murin can take the free kick for Ipswich as the 3 back players come forward again. Beattie, Butcher and Osman. Beattie! Well, they were hoping in the Ipswich camp that the set-piece power of the 3 big men coming up from the back could sway the game. And Beattie did well to reach that. He had a defender to jump with, and he couldn't get it on target. In goes Beattie. Walk, and Beattie's gone down heavily. He could be in an offside position here, and he is. And he collided, I think, with David Bennett. Looks like the right arm there. Bennett's got the bang on the head, but Beattie looks in pain. The upper arm, maybe, or even further down, as Tommy Eggleston, the physiotherapist, examines what Beattie has done. He came clattering in there to try and make something of that ball on the edge of the area and fell awkwardly. Such an unlucky figure, Kevin Beattie. But for injuries, he could well have been Bobby Moore's successor, but somewhere along the line, his luck took a wrong turning. So, Steve McCall comes on as the Ipswich Town sub.
Ipswich perhaps had the better of the 90 minutes, but City took the honours in extra time.
Reid. Walk. And Mackenzie, not a particularly good ball. It forced Bennett far too wide, but he did ever so well to get there. And the challenge was by Butcher. And the free kick given again against Ipswich, who are on a survival job at the moment. In this first period of extra time, the team chasing the treble are getting the worst of it. And Manchester City with Power and Mackenzie on the ball here this time. Power. Oh, I say, what a goal! The skipper, who has scored in every cup match bar one, rifles home a left foot shot, and Manchester City take the lead. In the 10th minute of extra time, people on the pitch, and Ipswich, with John Bond's emotions absolutely unrevealed there, but the fans have let their emotions show. Paul Power has scored, and Ipswich have buckled. Well, free kick goals can be so important, and none more important than that. Mackenzie pushed the ball to one side, and Power's left foot shot was perfect, right in the corner. Gow, they've got players going to the left. Inevitably, one of them is this captain, Paul Power. What a good run. Brilliant run. It's still Power. Ranson. Hutchison. Reeves. It's all over. John Bond takes his club to Wembley, and what an amazing record they've got now, City, in FA Cup semi-finals. They've been in 10, and they've now won 8 of them. And they won this one with an extra time goal by their captain, Paul Power, while the Ipswich captain, Nick Mills, reflects only on what might have been.
City took the final to a